Hi, I'm your host, Ellen Nicole.
And I'm your host, Eileen Nikita.
And welcome to the Instant Caregiver. This week, before we start, we're going to ask that you please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, please, and then also share with others.
Yes.
So this week, we're actually it's called The Hustle is Real.
It is real.
It is, listen, the hustle is real. Caregiving and finances.
You can talk about this for days, Nicole.
Right. So we always start with a story. We thought because we had a power of attorney, and prior to my mom going into the nursing home, I was on her bank account and Nikita called her pension company and said, go ahead and give the money to the nursing home. We thought because we had those things and did those things that once we decided to take our mom home, that it would be a piece of cake, call Social Security, say she's no longer at the nursing home.
Yes.
We're going to have her check come here. We call the pension company, give them a copy of the power of attorney. They already knew that I was on her checking account from the previous years before she was in a nursing home. Easy peasy, piece of cake. Was it a piece of cake, Nikita?
Heck no.
Hell no. We're going to say it was not a piece of cake. It was not. My mom was retired. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. We brought her home around Christmas. I had just started that new job. Nikita, like we told you before, was laid off, which worked out in our favor. But we thought we would have a certain amount of money to take care of her. And that is not what happened. And we're going to tell you, we'll talk about the legal things. So they would not accept the POA. We ended up having to hire an attorney because I wasn't practicing and that's not my area. It wasn't my area of law. It is now.
And Nicole, they wouldn't even tell us why they would take it. They kept saying, send it.
Right,
and we were like, okay. We did it like 5 times.
And I had my other attorney friends look at it because I knew it was a perfectly acceptable POA. So we told you that our mom was on hospice last time. If you've been keeping up with that story, that's why we were able to get her out of the nursing home. So we had to figure out how we were going to pay for her care. And even though we were home and we were going to be her caretakers, we needed extra help because our mom was not walking. She didn't talk. She had severe dementia. So every element of her existence required care. From day one, we had to figure out how to hustle. I was able to do a lot of overtime. Again, I had a job where I worked from home. Specifically, it was just going to be a temporary job, but it ended up working out okay because I was able to work. And when I say I worked sometimes sometimes I work 18-hour days. I had supplemental work. A little bit about my background. I am an attorney, but I'm also a former college professor. So I was doing a lot of grading essays online. When I say I used every resource that I could find to pay for our mom's care because my mom brought in a pension and Social Security, she did not qualify for Medicaid. And that's a lot of caregivers find themselves in that predicament because we thought, okay, well, we'll just get paid to take care of her. That does not work if your loved one, number one, isn't self-directed, meaning they can tell you exactly what they need and what they want. Our mom was not, and also she was not on Medicaid. So over the years, we realized that I would have to be the primary breadwinner, and Eileen Nikita, would have to also do the caregiving. So in the beginning, we really didn't have a caregiver. We could afford maybe 3 hours.
Right.
You can interject anytime.
You're right, because she needed 24-hour care. We couldn't just like put her in a room and go work and come back to her. She needed constant care. We had to be with her 24 hours. That's something that we weren't really, I mean, we thought about it, but we just assumed that, oh, it's going to be, pretty easy because she's not that difficult to take care of. She had to have individualized care. You had to be next to her to feed her and to make sure she didn't suck her fingers. I had no idea, how difficult the finance part was going to be. And like you said, my position was eliminated.
It was eliminated, right?
So, and it was in the process of starting my own business, but we'll talk about that later. You have to be creative, and you can't, I don't know how people do this with just one person. You gotta have this like kind of trade-off thing where yes, you work, but I did all the physical things. I was there, helping her, getting her up in the morning when the CNA wasn't here. So you can't do that. And that's one of the things that people, don't really consider because she up at night. You got to tend to her and make sure that she has what she needs in the middle of the night. And you can't wake up and refreshed to go to work at 8:00 in the morning.
Right. So we brought her home thinking we would have a set amount of money and oh yeah, we got this. That her money more than takes care of. And really, it took us almost a year. Well, look about 8 or 9 months. So I had to hire an attorney when I had to pay initially upfront. And then the whole that cost about $3,000 or $4,000.
Like $4,000. Yeah.
At the end, it talked about that cost just to get her money to take care of her cost us $4,000. And for us, we're like, why? And I don't know why. I guess because there is a perception, and because it does happen sometimes, but there is a perception if you take your loved ones out of a nursing home and then you take over their finances, that you are trying to get their money. And for us, that was not the case at all. We were trying to, we didn't know, save her life.
Right. And it's so interesting, Nicole, that when the place where she works, I'm not going to say the name, but they said, oh, we've never had this happen. This is not normal where you take someone out of a nursing home. It's always the opposite where you put them in. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, it's not the norm, but it should be the norm moving forward, but yeah.
You should, right. And again, pre-pandemic. So I know, and I've read articles about people now taking their loved ones out of the nursing home, but it was it was a nightmare. We had to redesign our lives. When I say we both hustled, we hustled. When I say sometimes I work 18-hour days, I did whatever I could to make sure that not only were we able to take care of her needs, but also that we could still maintain a lifestyle. When I say lifestyle, I'm not talking about going to brunches and doing all the stuff I used to do, just living in my apartment,
right?
Eating food. Like I had to really, really work. We both worked really hard. So we are going to talk about, and it just really changed our whole way of thinking about money, how to earn money, how to be a good caregiver and still take care of your financial needs. So today we're going to talk about using available resources, and we did that. We're going to talk about caregiving friendly places to work because caregiving family places to work because there are not a lot of them. Right. And, I had FMLA, but not that first year. That first year I didn't. And when I tell you I could not take off, I could do a whole bunch of extra hours with help, but when I needed to take off, it was difficult to do it. So we started doing an entrepreneurial mindset. We were like, okay, we can start our own business. And again, I stopped practicing, and I have to preface that because it was difficult dealing with my mom in the nursing home or whatever. But now that I'm, now that I've been in it, I understand the need to have your own, to be able to create your own resources so that you can take care of your loved one and take care of yourself. And then we're going to give you some links, and we'll put them at the end of the podcast. And then also you can see that at the bottom. Did I ask you guys to like the podcast and subscribe? I'll do it again. Like it, and please subscribe, and then also share. So,
and I'm getting a little emotional because I'm thinking about how much, you don't really realize what you're doing until you look back on it. Like we said, for our mom, it wasn't a big deal. I would have sacrificed anything and everything for her.
Using available resources. There are programs that allow you to eat. I don't even know. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm
Are you
fine.
okay? All
Yeah, we're
right.
fine. I just, I'm gonna get emotional whenever we talk about her. I can't help it. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So we did not do this just because we've had such difficulty getting her pension and Social Security. But make sure, I would say apply for Medicaid and Medicare dual enrollment. And we'll give you the instructions on how to do that. If your loved one makes too much money, if you can prove that they do something called a spend down, if you can prove that they spend all of their money and they still need more money, then they can get Medicaid. So if you are in a position to do that, you want to apply for dual enrollment, Medicare, Medicaid, that will help pay for supplies. We were paying out of pocket, but they'll help pay for adult briefs. It'll pay for a CNA or someone, to come in and help you. All of her medication, if you get dual enrollment, and also plan part, Keto, is it Medicare A, B, and what's the part with the?
So they want to get C2, part A, B, and C. And C has to do with the medication. You get help for paying for that.
Right. So
and that's
you want to
something.
make sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You just want to make sure that when it comes out once a year, it's called Medicare and You. That's something that we can put in the link. But you want to make sure you get that book every year because they won't really tell you what's different or new. You're gonna have to go through that book, and it is a pretty big book.
There are government programs that assist people who are underemployed. Again, we use that because she needed that because she was not working. She was taking care of our mom, and that made a difference. It helped out and a lot. Right. Again, don't be ashamed. Don't feel like, oh, well, I have this type of background. Why should it's your job is caregiving. You're just not getting paid for it, unfortunately.
Right.
And so that's part of your payment. It helps you to eat. Right. Again, you got to use all your resources because, again, we didn't know that our mom would be here for 3 years. I wish it was longer. But in the beginning, we said, okay, we got her money, which we didn't have because they wouldn't give it to us and they made us fight. And we'll give you the links to everything that we use. There's no shame in that game.
There isn't.
Because you got to do it in order to survive. And when I say we survived and we were able to be better caregivers because we were able to finance our lifestyle, and then our mom, because again, we ended up having to pay for everything up front. We got reimbursed 8 or 9 months later, but that was something we hadn't calculated and put into the work because we were just trying to get her out, Right. So you want to make sure you use available resources, and we'll put the links down there. And so Nikita is an HR executive. That's her thing. And so we started thinking, okay, we can't just work a 9 to 5. No. What else are we going to do to bring in income? And when I tell you, my sister brought in income and found a way, which was tremendously helpful to us. So she's going to continue.
Yeah. So like I said, you have to be very creative. Most employers are not going to put caregiving employees like on the top of their list. That's not an ideal worker for them. So you're going to have to find different ways to bring in money. And so like for me, like I took my skill set, which I know that I'm good at helping people prepare for interviews. I'm good at, resume writing. So I just said, let me take this and try to make some extra money. And it worked. I started an LLC, which is really simple and easy. And of course, you have to make sure you report it to if you get any type of assistance. Also, one of the things I was discovering is that there are so many flexible jobs out there. And then there's some employers that cater to people that want to work a flexible schedule. So I'm going to give you that resource, and it'll be in the description box. But Alorica is one of them. Vista Print has a lot of virtual jobs and flex schedule because, sometimes people think when you think flex that, oh, you can work whenever you want to. No, they mean that they have a very flexible schedule. You're going to have to work certain shifts, but it's still going to be something that you can work in being a caregiver. And then also there's certain things that you want to look for when you're looking for a flexible job. You want to have a company that has PTO time versus sick and vacation, because when you have a PTO, that means you can use it for sick and anything else, to take care of a loved one, whatever. So that's what you want to keep an eye out for. And also you want to kind of work for a company that has an EAP program, totally free. EAP is counseling that you're going to need as a caregiver. You are going to have so many things coming at you, and like we said last week, it's a battlefield, and you have to have that mental health, which is something, a lot of employers will offer you. Also, another two things that I found out, this thing called Flex Job, really, really great resource for you. They have a list of all the companies that are hiring, what type of shift that's available, how much it paid, as well as Upwork. That's also a good one. And Fiverr, my goodness, I love Fiverr. Fiverr, you can, list yourself on there and we'll find work that way. So you do have to be creative.
Now, let me interject too. Do you mind?
No.
Appen, APPE, and they're an Australian-based company. And I'd done that years before, but when my mom came home, I reapplied and I started working for them. And I can't tell you what I do, but it's pretty, we're not allowed to, but it allows me to work whenever I want to. There's no set schedule, and I got paid monthly. And that really was helpful as well, because a caregiver, you don't know, because some days I just couldn't work because my mom may have been just having a bad day and I had to take a little bit longer to feed her. So it was okay that I didn't work that day. I didn't have to call in, clock in, or whatever. So I'm going to also put that link there. It's helpful, and it helps you to, again, supplement your income.
Right.
And honestly, you might have to work more than one at-home job kind of pieced together. And I'm just talking about, that's what we had to do, because I could not work a 9 to 5. I could not commit to a job the way that I normally would, because I was taking care of my mom.
Right. And even with the pandemic, who wants to be sitting up in an office with hundreds of people where they're germs that you're going to bring back to your loved one that's sick? And one of the things I want to talk about, this thing called the Great Resignation. People think that the only reason people are resigning is because they hate their job and there's so many other jobs out there. No, they did a study. It is a lot of people who have decided to bring their loved one home and to take care of them. I'm like, wow, we need to get those people together. Yeah, I saw that article the other day, and it makes sense. We are living in different times, and nursing homes are just, not all of them are the same, but it is clear that they are going down, and the employers are realizing that, okay, we have a new workforce, so we're going to have to start getting creative about this. So that's why it's important that you know what's out there and what's available.
Right, exactly. So again, we're going to do did you talk about entrepreneurship?
So like she said, you do have to be creative. And one of the things I did was I created coloring books on KDP self-publishing. And I really want to do a video about that somewhere, because it took forever to learn how to do it. But once you do it, you are able to, produce other coloring books or other books in the same format. Also, you can make a really good living off of it. It takes some time to build, but once you understand how to do it, it becomes like stream of income for other people. And a lot of people don't know about it because they think that self-publishing is a joke, but it really is, because the only thing you have to do is have the idea and the time and the drive. And once you create it, it is something that can make you money in the long run, because after you put it up there, it'll just make money while you're sleeping, as long as you have good marketing and all that stuff.
Yeah. I was really surprised at the amount of money that she made doing that. Again, you got to hustle, you got to think outside the box, and you got to think out of the traditional 9 to 5.
Right.
If you are the kind of, we were hands-on 24 hours, 7 days a week caregivers, you have to do that. And again, there will be days when our CNA didn't show up. So you can't really work a job. I had FMLA, so that was helpful, but not everybody has that. Again, you want to have a backup plan as well. So
yeah, and like there are other different ways, like even YouTube, if you have an idea or something you want to talk about, it takes time. Like I'm not going to sit here and say you're going to make the money tomorrow, but there are ways that you can build upon, an idea and eventually make money off of it. And you have to think differently.
Right. Definitely. So we'll come back to this subject as well, because I know finances and caregiving go hand in hand and both are very stressful.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.